Housing prices have continued to rise over the last year, and it's having a big impact on couples who are considering a divorce. With even more equity now at stake, it has many asking who is entitled to what. Joining us this morning is family lawyer Stuart Zukerman. Good morning, Stuart.
Good morning.
So what are you seeing, Stuart, with respect to divorce and separation in face of these COVID restrictions and now the booming real estate market?
Well, we had already seen quite an increase in divorces and separations following the first 6 months of the COVID restrictions, with couples being boxed up together and restricted in their social outings. And now, with the spike in the price of homes and townhomes, we're seeing more and more people looking for legal advice about taking their share of the equity out of the homes and separating from their spouse.
What impact does housing price increases have on separating couples?
Well, it does have a major impact. Firstly, COVID itself had shut down the courts last spring for a number of months. That caused a number of adjournments of existing trials and cases. And now those same cases that we were looking at a year ago have much more equity at stake. I have one case, for example, that was set for trial last spring, and we were going to trial based on an appraisal from 2019 that the home was worth 1.7 million. I just got that home appraised last week, reappraised, and it's now worth 2.3 million. So that's a $600,000 increase in equity. And obviously, the old numbers where people were negotiating and making settlement offers, those are all off the table. You're now looking at a much higher level of equity to be divided between the parties.
Stuart, I got a scenario for you. So if one spouse, let's say the wife, owns the home and the couple separated in 2019, and the wife keeps paying the household bills, mortgage, insurance, taxes, etc., for the year after separation. And when they go to trial, the home's market value has gone up by hundreds of thousands of dollars. So do both spouses equally share that market gain, even if one spouse did not contribute after separation?
Yes, generally the principle is that both spouses are equally entitled to share the increase in equity, subject to sharing certain costs like property taxes, utilities, home insurance, the amount by which the mortgage was paid down, major repairs on the homes. In essence, if you own 50% of an asset on day one, and then it increases in value by reason of market forces by day 365 or day 500, you still own 50% of that asset. So each spouse is entitled to 50% of the increase in equity, even though it's post-separation.
All right, does that sharing of post-separation increases apply to things other than real estate?
Absolutely, it does. It applies to most assets that fluctuate in values, like RRSPs, investments, increase in the value of precious metals or artwork. It can even apply to post-separation increases in wages or salary, particularly when dealing with spousal support and always when dealing with child support. Those post-separation increases have effect on the monthly amount of support payable. And it is possible to seek to exclude certain post-separation contributions to assets in certain circumstances. So, for example, if a spouse received an inheritance post-separation and used it to pay down a mortgage or to pay down some debt, that can be taken into account and adjusted for. Or if one spouse spent 50,000 or 100,000 on renovating a property with the other spouse not contributing, they could be credited with that amount. But the increase in equity generally is subject to that 50-50 split. Each case does turn on its own facts, and if it would be substantially unfair to share it equally, then the court can share it unequally.
Finally, Stuart, what should viewers do if they have any questions about this area?
Well, many firms like mine, Zukerman Law Group, do offer free initial consultations where you can find out about all of your rights and all of your obligations under the law in a no obligation confidential meeting with an experienced family lawyer. So we suggest people should always speak to a lawyer and find out about their rights before they take any steps.
Family lawyer Stuart Zukerman, thank you so much for advice this morning, Stuart.
My pleasure.